any further delay, I want to introduce 29-year-old Andrew Schlag, who is a business owner, best-selling author, and has been an entrepreneur since a very early age and a real estate entrepreneur since 2014. Due to his fortitude, success, and love for helping others, he was chosen as the top 100 real estate professionals by the Top 100 magazine, having bought 50 houses in 52 weeks at 22 years old. He became a millionaire in single-family and small commercial real estate at 23, and then went on to build a multi-million-dollar portfolio by the age of 25. Andrew's creativity and tenacity forged an ideal for providing practical and profitable solutions to both buyers and sellers. Having obtained a master's degree in reinvesting from Financial Freedom Academy, Andrew wanted to share his experience and knowledge of real estate. As a result, Certain REI was born. Then creating a partnership with Icon Marshall Sylver, they developed the 30 Days to 30K and automated millionaire investor real estate training system, where people come to see life-changing results. He's also been mentoring and coaching for legendary real estate entrepreneur Ron LeGrand since 2017. He now helps guide real estate students all over the U.S. and Canada to achieve their goals. Please welcome to the virtual stage my good friend, Andrew Schlag. Andrew, the stage is yours.
So great to be with you, Mark, and thank you. And excited to be with you at AGC Talks here, and so many great things happening. And wow, what a introduction. So thank you for that. So yeah, my name is Andrew Schlag, and I'm 29, as Mark mentioned, and there's a few things I love, and that is one of the biggest things, seeing others succeed. And so as I found my passion doing that, I started at a young age in the investing game. And when Mark invited me to come on the show here and share it with you all, I was excited to do so, because anytime I can offer some inspiration to others, whether you're a brand new real estate investor or whether you're an investor who's done dozens or even hundreds of deals looking to get to maybe a new level of investing, then I'm going to be sharing some really exciting stuff for you. So the first thing I'll mention for you is at 22, I had basically no money or credit. I started at 21 buying houses and went on to buy 50 houses in a 12-month period. Well, how did I do that with no money or credit? There's a few different ways to do that. Number one is there's owner financing. Now, I commonly have people come to me and talk about creative financing and tell me there's no deals in my area. And I say, you're probably right, because the only way there's deals that are creative financed is if we learn to ask the right questions, which is what I did and became a master at several years ago, and how I began buying creative finance deals. Number one, get lots of leads, find people who want to sell houses. And number two, we follow up with them. We ask them a few questions and figure out if it's a win-win. If it's not a fit, I don't want to do the deal. So I want to only do the deal if it's a fit for me and for the seller. And when it's a fit, when it matches, maybe number one, they have a mortgage and they're behind on payments. Or number two, perhaps they want to net more money over time. So instead of a traditional cash offer, like a lot of wholesalers do, like a lot of investors do, and like we also sometimes do, make a low cash offer, we then go in with the creative financing, offer to pay them over time. That's been a huge tool in the tool belt to help me grow the real estate investing business. And then, of course, there is the cheap cash model. You've got some capital and you're wanting to put it to work and make a return on it, and you buy a house that's for substantially less than it's worth. And you may say, but Andrew, we're in a hot market right now. You're right, we are. And still every single month I'm buying several deals way below value with cash. Why? Because we're finding the sellers, the proper sellers. We're finding off-market deals. In fact, off-market deals is going to be the key to your success in the real estate investing business. Either we pay cash below value, or we pay owner financing, creative financing payments over time. Could be subject to, could be a lease option, a variety of creative finance terms. Now, the first thing I want to mention, if you're a beginner out there and saying, oh my goodness, how do I start? That's a great question. There's 3 simple steps. And I like to break everything down to be super simple so that it becomes doable. Again, at 21, I didn't have no experience. Had never bought a house before. I'd been a construction worker in the little town of Bellerive, Illinois, a town of 400 people. And that's all I knew. And so moving into the real estate investing game was all new for me. So number 1 is simply finding sellers. Getting sellers to call me by the dozens, or me calling for sell by owner by the hundreds. That's the 2 ways. Why dozens or hundreds? Because if they call me, they're way more qualified. If I'm calling them, just dialing by the hundreds, and I call it dialing and praying, waiting for the right seller to be, you're the fit for them and they're the fit for you. So that's number 1, finding sellers. Step 2 is getting them on the phone and following up. And that is where a lot of that gets lost. A lot of people I've worked with, including myself, when I started, had a fear of the phone. And then step 3, after you get them on the phone, ask the right questions. And I'll give you a sample of what those questions are in just 1 second. Then number 3 is to get the contract. We get the contract okayed by the seller. And then we determine our exit strategy. And sometimes that's a wholesale deal. Sometimes that's we close on it with perhaps private money, a private lender, or you can use your own capital if that's something you do, or a different loan of some sort, and fix and flip the property. That's my least favorite strategy because it takes so long to work on the property. My favorite 2 strategies are wholesale it or get it on terms and sell it on terms, sell it on a lease option. So we determine our exit strategy after we buy it. So if you're a beginner and you're going, how do I get my first deal? The answer is 1, contract and wholesale. 2, learn to ask the right questions for owner financing and start picking up properties on payments. Now, if you're a experienced, seasoned investor and you go, well, how do I ramp up my business? That's also a great question. Something that I asked myself at 22. I was buying almost a house a week, and I'm going, this is cool, this is fun, but I kind of had no life at that point, right? I'm on the phone nonstop, I'm taking calls, I'm making calls, I'm buying these houses, and that's when I started learning the game of automation. That's when I started learning that everything I'm doing in the real estate investing business, I can build a team, build a real business rather than another busy job for myself. Maybe a well-paying job, but it's another job. So what do? I find an acquisitionist. I find a dispositionist. I find someone who can go out and get the deals on my behalf. I find a few things. In fact, you might want to make a list of these things to make sure you begin automating your business quickly. Number 1, need somebody to make the calls. So a virtual assistant or a local assistant, and yourself. In the beginning, it could be yourself. Get rid of that responsibility as fast as possible. Number 2, you need somebody to take the calls. So for me, I use 24-hour answering service. After you find who to make the calls to pre-screen for sell by owners and who to take the calls to pre-screen sellers, then you've got to figure out who's going to call them back. In the beginning, that's usually going to be you. We're going to call them back and ask questions. As we automate, we're going to find an acquisitions manager who will then call back the sellers and ask the right questions for you. Now, as we automate, we delegate, we grow the business, there's a whole lot more that I'm able to cover in 15 minutes. So I want to delve into this for you that are experienced and you that are starting out, because a big question I get a lot on online is, what is exactly do I ask sellers? Again, we're finding sellers who we're a match for. We're a match for them, they're a match for us. They fit in 1 or 2 categories. They need fast cash now, way below value, or 2, they're willing to accept monthly payments over time. So I have a plain and simple form. I have the front end caller, the virtual assistant or the local assistant to fill out. and it asks them the asking price. It asks them what they think the property's worth. It asks them what they, if they have a debt on it, if so, how much they owe. It asks them if they're willing to take monthly payments. They can say yes or they can say no. And then it asks them if it needs any work. Now, from that sheet that I have filled out, I then move forward, excuse me, to calling them back. And the questions I ask the seller is, so if they've said yes to terms, I immediately jump in. What's the least you can accept on a purchase price if we agree on everything else? Then after we've nailed that down, I say, what's the least you can accept as a monthly payment until we pay you off in full? We nail that down. Then I say, what's the longest time you can give me to pay you off in full? And then last but not least, we negotiate. Commonly, we buy with nothing down. Again, if we're paying all retail, we're paying closing. We're saving the seller the 6% commission because we're not being a realtor agent on this transaction. We're just buying the house directly from them. So the reality is the seller is going to net more over time by selling to us, to me, on payments, to you on payments, than they are by selling any other way. And so while some sellers need fast cash now, I've had sellers who literally prefer to sell on payments over time with creative financing so they can make more money over time. And then, of course, there's those who just need debt relief. And we are the answer to their prayer, and they're the answer to ours. It's a match made in heaven. We're able to buy a house, pay the closing costs, be out very little money on our end, and give them the debt relief they need. And so many exit strategies that we're not going to be able to have time to get into today. But to acquire those properties, it's asking those questions. Usually we buy with nothing down. So at least you'll take a month, at least you'll take on price. What's the longest you are comfortable giving me to pay you off in full? Once we have those four things nailed down, then we move on to getting the purchase agreement signed. It's a simple process. I know I'm sharing a whole lot in a little time, and I'm sure the questions, there'll be a lot of questions here, which is totally awesome. The point I wanted to share with you, though, to both beginners and experienced investors alike, is whatever your objective is with real estate, to become a creative transactional genius is what I want to see for you, because that opens the whole world up to you for opportunity for houses. I buy houses virtually all the time. I don't even see them. I just buy them virtually. And I do that through the many strategies that we have in our tool belt, and through a mindset that says, rather than this deal is dead, how can I make this deal profitable? If I can fix the seller's problem or the seller's challenge and make money on the deal, then it's a perfect fit. If I can't make money on the deal, or it doesn't solve a seller's challenge or give them what they want, then it's not a fit. So it's a real simple process we go through. And as we go through that process, it becomes easier, or maybe I should say simpler, each time. As you grow your real estate investing business, there's learning curves, of course. And as you go through those learning curves, I always recommend three things. Number one, make sure you have a mindset and motivation that is unmatched to keep on the right track. Number two, make sure you're always learning, getting around people who are doing it at the level you want to do it. And then number three, I just always tell everyone, get on the phone and never give up. Every no is one closer to a yes. And I cannot tell you how many students, how many people online have reached out to me and stated, I can't find any terms deals in my area. And the reason is because they didn't know to ask the right questions, number one, or number two, they gave up too quickly and quit dialing. You ask the right questions and you're calling enough leads, there are these creative finance deals and these large profit deals all over the US. Not only am I buying in multiple states, I have worked with people who are buying in dozens of states, and it works. It works everywhere. It's a matter of learning to ask the right questions, to find the right sellers, and to make it a systemized process. Now, as you grow And as you go, there may be questions that arise sometimes. I assure you that there's somebody who's been there and somebody who has absolutely made it through that challenge. So don't give up. Keep looking, keep finding the answers, keep growing, and keep going. And you too can build your portfolio, your cash flow, your profitability in your real estate investing business to whatever level you want. Lastly, and above all else, make sure on top of being creative and having the right mindset, learning to ask the right questions, that you as soon as possible begin automating and delegating, because that changes everything. It takes it from being busy nonstop to having an automated business working for you. Work on your business rather than in it, and your whole life will change. So I am grateful to have had this opportunity to share. I know we're running up on the 15 minutes here. And so I just thank you again for listening. Excited to answer your questions and looking forward to many great things for each of you to come in your businesses. As you grow, there's never a place that you have to stop. You can slow down if and when you want to, when you have the cash flow, the level you want. My objective on this today was to share with you the way to pour gasoline on the fire in the beginning stages to get to the level you want, or in the stages you are, if you're already have done or are doing a lot of deals, to get to a whole new level fast. And it doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes the right knowledge, the right questions, and your network is absolutely key. I know you know that. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening. So very grateful to have been able to share that with you today. Very excited to hear reports coming back of the way that this has helped jet your business and increase your business and change your view